Beautiful. Thank you everyone for being you to start with, and also being that awareness that wants to seek for healing, seek for moving forward. The journey of yoga therapy is to keep moving forward, upward, onward, and then finally inward. You know, we all talk about letting go, transcending, dissolving, but remember that is the last step. So if you give up your ego, if you let go of your ego, and I'm not talking about the ego that wants to fight and argue and conflict, you are right and I'm wrong, or you are, I'm not talking about that ego. I'm talking about the potential to exist. If you let go of that even a moment before your self-realization, you begin the journey all over from beginning. So if I tell you, I am Jnandev, I have no ego, I'm free of this, I don't think I would have got out of the bed to come here and talk. Okay, so if I'm here, that is there. That makes me feel I want to share something, I want to be somewhere. So as we have been working through the series of talks, and it's nice to have some new people here, so we have been trying to understand the holistic yoga and yoga therapy together in its own way. And today I thought we will look at the practices, the tools, the concepts as how we deal with ourselves in different situations. Very first principle when we work in yoga as a yoga therapy, yoga as a practice, is the concept, the principle of spanda nispanda. And this is the principle that comes from the Hatha Yoga, the traditional Hatha Yoga, the Sanatan or the Tantric practices. So all the practices have the two aspects. So Spanda is your action, your doing. Your Nispanda is letting go. So let's say you have done a good hour of Vinyasa, Iyengar, Hatha, whichever style you follow, and then at the end you have a good relaxation. So the relaxation in typical term would be known as Nispanda. You may be following your meditation practice, breathe in, breathe out, keep gazing on your tip of your nose, and at some point you must let go. You may be contemplating about something. Now Patanjali has a different term for it. He uses the phrase, the words, Abhyasa Vairagya. So do something about it and then let go. So let's say two people have a conflict. The easiest thing to go away in your own direction for even 5 minutes and then come back and let's talk about it. In the talk, maybe we realize that somebody was wrong and the person says sorry and we accept it. What we need to do next is never bring it up again. What we do, let's talk about it, and then tomorrow we talk about it again. Day after tomorrow we talk about it again. So we actually generally in the yogic world, including we, okay, I'm saying we, please remember, because I'm one of you and I struggle with things too. And I enjoy it. Many years ago somebody said, Jnandev, this practice you're talking, and I'm talking about somebody up in Himalayan mountains, said, if you just do this, you'll be enlightened in few days. And I said, I know. But I want to come back. So it's something we all have this battle in us, but as long as we keep reminding ourselves of the Abhyasa and Vairagya, Spanda Nispanda, two together. Now, let's change that into our scientific terms. We love being scientific, okay? If I tell you to just lie down on your back If you lie on your right side, it's fine. If you lie on left side, it's fine. Just let go and close your eyes and just breathe. You all be just like, what nonsense Jnandev is talking. He doesn't know anything about it. If I tell you lie down, your feet need to be 10 inches apart. Your finger need to have just a half of the centimeter gap between them. Make sure eyebrows just got a hairline open between them. And I say, okay, your head need to be here. You all be like, wow, amazing, Jnandev, he knows everything. If I just tell you to breathe in through the right nostril, breathe out through the left, and your life is going to be full of energy. You guys may not like it, but if I say, well, this is the Shiva, this is the Shakti, there is a Surya, there is a Chandra, there is a Ida, there is a Pingla, you are like, and then I say, okay, now make sure you bring your right hand around your left arm, and then you hold your nose, and make sure your head is pointing to the east, and it's on the full moon or the no moon, and you need to be done exactly at 9:45, 20 seconds. Now you are excited about it, because that movement only happen at particular time. So this is Spanda practice in life is to create that excitement. Do I want to do it? Do I want to fix myself? Do I want to be happy? Do I want to be healthy? And if I do, then I can't just like, can somebody please come and help me? Of course, there are lots of people like, oh, you poor thing. Come on, Jnandev, let me help you. Let me heal you. Then that takes me to addiction to the sympathy. Me, poor thing. So creating that excitement. And this is where the practice of Hatha Yoga, the asana, the kriya, the pranayam, I want to do it. So your spanda is to create excitement, to create, I want to make that change and I want to be that change. And nispanda is acceptance and letting go. So in the scientific terminology, what we got? Sympathetic and parasympathetic. See, the only difference the yogis have, they use the Sanskrit terms which they knew. Now our science uses the terms they know. It's like lots of Sanskrit words. I try to find the English words for it. Well, I have to write a book to explain, if I want to explain the concept of Sat, Chit, Ananda. I'm afraid that in English there is no word to it. The word Shanti, Shanti. We say peace, but I'm afraid to say the word Shanti. Peace is a very little essence of the wholesome understanding of the practice. So in Sanskrit and in English, so in a way, each one of us use a word that explains us, gives us the perspective. Can you hear me? Can we please turn it up? Thank you. No need to be sorry. Thank you for asking me to get us helped. So please turn it up. Yeah, can you all hear me now? So these concepts have a much more deeper meaning. So if I move forward, so we talk about spanda, nispanda, abhyasa, vairagya. Neuroscience will say, let's say, sympathetic, parasympathetic. Come into action when you need to. So if a tiger is chasing you, you must run. Unless you know the tiger is going to be there and hang around with you and have a cup of tea that you're going to offer the tiger. And that works. Please remember, it does work, okay? It does work. But if you don't know for sure, then your spanda is to do what you need to do to exist. So the survival, abhinivesa on its own is not negative or positive. Your body is hungry, it's seeking for food to live. There's nothing wrong in it. It only becomes wrong when we become so attached that we cannot survive if that food is not given to us. Do I live to eat or I eat to live? So eat to live is your spanda, your action. Now letting go, the nispanda is Leave the food in your stomach and let it go through the journey, stop stressing about it, so the digestion happens. So the nispanda is the parasympathetic response. So your stress, come back to relaxation. We call it homeostasis, which your body supports, your neurobiological mechanisms support when you need to be in action, as long as we allow ourselves to come back to relaxation. So in yoga chikitsa, in yoga therapy, these ancient rishis had this amazing realization of Adi Vyadi, psychosomatics. From the mind to body, from the psychic to the manifestation to the body. So any disease, any problem, it begins somewhere into the pranamaya kosa, then it moves into your manomaya kosa, and then it gets into your annamaya kosa. You know, sometimes we say somebody is getting under our skin. So there is a long series to it, isn't it? Somebody, before they got under your skin, they did something that triggered your mind, that triggered your energy, and now you feel it in your body. Now our modern science have the same concept that we talk about, psychosomatics or somatopsychic. It works both ways. And this is where the Hatha Yoga, the asana, the kriya, the pranayam concept comes into practice. How do I re-empower relaxation response, relax, digest response? So hopefully now you all can see it. So in the classical Hatha Yoga, the concept is spanda nispanda, do and let go, action, relaxation. In the Yoga Sutras, abhyasa vairagya, let's do something about it and then let's forget. If you don't let go, then every time you think, okay, I want to be free of back pain. Now your brain has to conceptualize it and create what back pain means, and then it try to heal it. Now in mind medicine, this beautiful concept they have taken from the Upanishads is a concept known as imagery, which is visualizing or conceptualizing what you want to be instead of what you don't want to be. And this is where the abstract concept, Sat, Chit, Ananda. You are not suffering, you are not misery, you are not pain, you are that blissful being. So instead of thinking, I don't want pain in my life, can we think, I want bliss in my life? So now your brain is not creating that negativity. But the yogi said, if I just say, let's relax. Well, if I'm in a chronic stress, in a chronic pain, chronic suffering, that can be physical, mental, psychic, relationship, environment, whatever it is. Now we got society, politics, there is, everything seems to be everywhere. You know, we like this, we don't like this. Now for reactivating that relaxation response, it's easy to stretch. So if I tell you to bang your head to the wall 3 times and then like, okay, now let's, how it feels, like, oh, thank God, I'm not hurting myself anymore. Now please don't do it. But to experience, to re-experience the relaxation, we need to stretch. If I tell you, let's see how it feels when your heart is relaxing, it's hard to know. If I say, let's run for 5 minutes and then take a pause, because now your heart is, the breath is like that, then it starts to calm down, calm down, calm down. It's amazing, like the yogis were such an amazing scientist to work on that. And every problem you tell me now, there is a connection with the stress. Either the stress is the primary cause, or it's the triggering point, or it's the worsening point. So if I want to come back to Sukhisthanam, into ease, and allow that healing process to begin at any level, I need to re-empower that relaxation response. And it almost feels we've forgotten about how to relax. We like it or not, because our life seems to be so overstimulated. A few years ago, somebody comes forward and asks me a question, and I'm just looking at that person because I'm trying to see where do I begin answering it. And he walked away. It's like Jnandev doesn't know anything about it. Which I was fine with it. Because if sometimes people maybe don't need to know the answer, but the point is, this fight, flight, we want everything here and now, which is the spanda, which is the stress, which is the sympathetic response. Have you ever asked yourself, or tried, just close your eyes for a minute, and you can ask yourself anything, but I would say ask yourself, what is my name today? And just wait for 10 seconds, don't answer anything, don't say anything. If answer is coming, ask something else, anything, what would I like to eat, or what should I do next? But don't answer it. Wait for the inner voice to come. We actually very good in questioning, very good in reasoning, very good in debating, discussing, allowing the answer to come. So it means we need a stimulus to hear something from within. So if you always to open your eyes, please do. So let's just try a little spanda. So what about, bring your hands forward, interlock your fingers as simple as you can, and pull your hands against each other. And let's see your right hand or the left hand, which hand is stronger, and make it as strong as you wish. Now close your eyes and feel the sensations of your nervous system, the message that stress of your hands, how your brain recognizes it. Feel and make it more stronger. And take a deep in breath. Now sigh your breath and release your hands on your knees. Just sit quiet for a few moments. Feel the feeling, what you experience. Now let's gently pull our shoulders up all the way to the ears. Now put your hands on your thighs. You can put your hands on the floor. Push them against your thighs. So like create a big tension between your arms and your shoulders. Now squeeze your glutes, squeeze your mula bandha, your pelvic floor muscles, and hold the tension. Feel the response, the sensation of the tension, and sigh and let go. Now feel the nispanda, feel this letting go, or what your body feeling at that moment. Maybe third time, let's take a deep in breath, breathe in. Now I'd like you to hold your breath. Hold your breath as long as you feel you are fine to hold it, and at the end when you need to let it go, and then feel that letting go where you're like, oh, it's nice, I can breathe again. Keep holding as long as you wish to. When you're ready, let it go and feel that I'm free to breathe in, I'm free to breathe out. So moving from the stress into the relaxation response. Okay, let's gently open our eyes when you're all ready. So in here now, in my or classical yoga therapy work, you can choose any posture, any kriya. You may actually, let's do 3 rounds of Surya Namaskar and relax. So I can choose an appropriate stretch, a tension. That can be as simple as just my hands pressing against myself, my legs pressing against myself. So this concept of spanda nispanda, tension between your muscles, your organs, your ligaments, your joints. In ancient time, it wasn't there for tension itself or how to become strong, flexible, all that. Those were classically looked at as side benefits. They were important, and why I always say important, because if they were not important, rishis would have never said, if you do this practice, this will happen. If somebody was not interested in health of your back, why would they say, if you do Paschimottanasana every day, you will never have back pain? And I'm using that as a reference that your health, your wellness, your physical fitness is the first step towards your realization. So you can choose an appropriate practice. You may have decided to go for a walk, go for a swim. It really doesn't matter how, as long as at end of that abhyasa, you come to what we call nirabhyasa, or the vairagya, let go. Now, can we take that practice home, and whatever conflict in us, either it's a physical conflict, that can be my knee is hurting, my head is, I'm not enjoying being in there, maybe a relationship is hurting me, maybe my work situation is hurting me, so it can be anywhere. Can I take one step? What should I do here? And once I've done that, can I let it go? So let me share another beautiful practice from the Upanishads, because we talk about the letting go so much. And why in yoga therapy, even if we have done some posture work, some pranayam, this letting go is important, because you're trying to remove that information which is a trauma for our system. So any pain, any uncomfortable situation, if I'm not being able to process it, clear it, it's toxic. And the toxic matter, that can be physical, mental, conscious, intellectual, spiritual, it's a trauma for your brain, trauma for your consciousness, because that poison is there, and every time something happens, it's going to irritate. Right. So can we try whenever we need, what should I do, and then how I can let go? So Swami Jnandev Giri, really beautiful way, said that every problem does not actually have a solution. And I'm sure we know that. Even certain health problems, maybe there is no cure, but it does not blocks you to live your full potential. Somebody, many years ago, I worked for a while, a great pharmacist in a wheelchair, and I have to say, some of the most happiest, vital person. And nothing is like my spirit, my life has nothing to do with it. Only thing he said I needed to find is what I need to do or how I need to live. So problem may or may not exist in your life. You and me don't have a control on it. Certainly. But the suffering is our choice. So what should I do and how I move forward? So some problems, what we have a solution. So Patanjali says, Eka Tattva Abhyasa, do something about it. So if Jnandev were sitting talking nonsense, I don't like it, let's go elsewhere. Can you see my point? I don't need to let myself get suffocated with it. It has a solution. But what if I know somebody is talking wise, I don't like it today, then let's listen and find peace, which is resolution, what I need to take from it. I'm sure, wherever we go, somebody talks for hours, some things we like, something we don't like. So the resolution is, can I find peace and take what I need and leave what I don't need? If you like shopping in a supermarket, what do? You walk around everywhere and pick everything. If you are really good, then you have a list and you tick, pick. If you are a bit messed up like me, then, I like that. So you may have few extra things. But can you tell me, what do you do with the rest of the other billion things that are there? We don't even notice. So it may be a problem, like especially if you are vegan, then the two sections, why are they there? I used to feel that for a time being. Why these sections? Then I realized actually I don't need to walk through them. I just go where I need to go. So you find the resolution within you, but then there are things where there is no resolution. You need to either move away. Different terms we can use. Let's move away from it. Let's grow above it. Or let's find peace within it. So like certain health conditions, like we have some forms of diabetes, some forms of asthma and stuff. Something we got to find peace within to live our full potential. Some relations, it can be our parents. We can make a distance, but still that connection will be always there. So we find peace within it. So you're looking at how do I grow above? And in that above, then you can sometimes give up, you can sometimes give in and move on. So spanda, nispanda, it can be a physical practice, it can be a pranayam, it can be a life practice, it can be a virtue, a philosophy in different forms. Shall I take a little pause if anyone have any question about what I'm talking, and then I can move on to the next part. Is it making some sense? Yes, please.
Just say, so say if there's things there, something that I'm struggling with, and I think, oh, that's not good, I'm just like, how do I know that I'm just sort of turning away from it because I don't actually want to? Maybe it would be a good thing for me, but because, I decided, oh no, it's not good, I'm going to wait and
Yes, so the beauty of that, once I stepped away from the conflict, then I see what is there for me to see in it. If I stay in the conflict, then I'm going to argue, I'm going to burn in it. So actually, even if you step out, you don't have to, like, I had enough of it. Just go away, and then you begin to see the truth. Then you will know if I come back and resolve it, or I need to keep going away from it.
Or you think it's a new direction that I decided that I'm going to turn. Things in Harvard, I found it already. I found in practice, or I thought, well, say if I wanted to become a vegan, say, for instance, something. But actually, it doesn't fit in with my lifestyle. Like, mean that I was being pushed out from my vegan community because Sally's coming for dinner, because we got to cook something special. So, and I decided don't follow my true path because of the other conflicts around vegan.
So what I do personally is I live my life but without the baggage. So I am vegetarian, but I'm vegetarian because I'm vegetarian, not because I don't want to eat something else. So what it does, it has taken the weight off from me. I want to be here because I want to be here, but if I would not be here, it would not create stress in me. So can we come to the peace even with the goodness? Remember, the weight of good and bad is equally toxic. So we got to come above that and say, I want to do this because I want to do this. And if it doesn't work, I will try something new. If the one answer was there for everything, why the yogis found million different ways? Because something works for one person, it does not work for somebody else. So, some of my favorite practices from the traditions, we have these beautiful color meditations. And especially in yoga therapies, amazing practices. But you tell me, close your eyes, and I tell people to do it, and every time you ask, it's just black. And eventually I realized I'm colorblind. Sometimes I bought a t-shirt thinking I got orange, and somebody's like, oh, Jnandev, it's a nice purple one. I'm like, no, I bought it orange. But it doesn't mean that I have to keep killing myself in something that my cognitive faculty is not being able to process. So it's okay, then you move on and take a next step. So Krishna exactly says, you have taken a path, whatever karma it is, you accomplished it, don't sit on it, go to the next thing. So for me, we are not here to live one life. We can live multi-dimensional lives every time. So something works, take it. Something doesn't work, move on. Until we keep trying, we really don't know what is the solution.
Yeah.
So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about 18 different paths of yoga. And hopefully, he said, you will find the one out of them that works for you. So just keep trying. Okay, that's my answer. Just keep trying, and if something works, keep it with you. Something doesn't work, leave it. And I call it leave it in your toolkit, that later on you may realize, oh, I need the shovel to dig something.
So you're not giving up this, because sometimes the easy option is just give up.
No.
What you're saying is just leave it there.
Leave it there. So I think maybe the giving up has many different ways to look at it. So I'm not talking about I had enough of it, but no, I'm not being able to deal, I'm going to move away. So that's a giving up in one way, but not a negative giving up. So I'm talking about the positive practice, not the negative. I know if I can't lift this thing up, I know that I cannot deal with that technology, then I need to give up on me to know that I can't deal with it, and then I shout out for somebody else to help me. So that giving up is positive. Or I can mess it up. Even when Michael comes back, he's like, I can tell you he will be swearing because I messed it up.
They could have done something. Yeah. And then what that speak. Or I come back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, please.
Then there's another thing, you can walk away and then we think about it, but in my head I walk away, the problem or the situation come with me, and then I have this confrontation, the argument still continues in my head. Although I walked away from the situation, but it's still here.
Yeah, so I'm coming to that next point. So the walking away is literally not forgetting about it, because that's not possible. Remember, the problem is still there, isn't it? It's not the problem is gone. You left the snake behind, you run away. The snake is still in the house. So when you go away, you go to empower yourself. That can be, like in India, I would phone somebody I know who is very good in catching a snake. Maybe I will talk to a teacher, I will talk to somebody who I respect. I have that connection to say, this is what I am, what should I do about it? So in that, you're not actually running away from it, you are running away, stepping away from the conflict itself. There is a beautiful Instagram, TikTok reel. My boys love it, okay? They share these, because I talk about this wisdom, and now and then they get something. They're like, this is a better way to share it. So this beautiful, it's like a comedy thing where the husband and wife fight every day. And then she goes to the doctor and says, like, my husband is such a nasty man. He argues with me all the time. Do you have a treatment for it? And doctor said, yes. Said, every time your husband starts to argue, have a sip of water, fill it in your mouth, and hold it in your mouth as long as he's angry. Now this woman thinks, you can change it around. Please don't make it like man-woman thing, okay? So she goes home and come back a week later, said, that was amazing. But can you explain me scientifically what the practice did? He said, oh, maybe your husband was angry, but you did not take it forward because you got the water in your mouth, you can't speak anymore. So this stepping away is not fueling the pain, the conflict anymore. This is actually a very physiological thing. If a dog have a wound, it heals it. Because every time that scratching part, the wound gets the dry part, then it licks it, makes it soften. If a monkey have a wound, it dies with it. And it's anatomically, its life is a very true fact. Because every time it gets dry, it feels itchy, doesn't it? So what it does, it scratches it with all his nails, and then the infection happens and it dies. So somebody I know very close to me, he is a veterinary doctor, and he said when they found a monkey, they have to tie the hands behind as long as that problem is cured. Because if you let it go, so are we scratching it, or are we, let's just stroke it? And this is where the stepping away is the practice. Now moving from there, the next step is giving it a voice, what we call the na, the sound. Now in the Western culture, and I'm saying that out loud, please don't take it personally, but take it as a concept. We people, and I say we because in 2015 I did give up my Indian passport and become British citizen.
Right.
So legally, I'm here too. And this is, I have to say we because legally I'm not from the same system. We are very uptight people. We are like, I have to always be like this. Everything is fine. If somebody is like, can you do this for me? Even you know this is not something done by you. Oh, I want to keep peace. Okay, I will do it. And then in there, I never have to do it. Why did you tell me to do it?
True.
This voicing things, we boil ourselves in ourselves. So there is a beautiful practice. See this Bhastrika breaths we have. There is a many variations. One of them is the softest Bhastrika, which is the Sai breath. If I ever annoyed my mom or grandmom, they right in front of my face, they were like, and they would not be shy to even like, it's almost like I had enough of the crap. I free my heart. Oh, I'm sure you all would have done it, but you don't do it in front of the people. You go away somewhere, creating a pose, creating a practice that can be breath, that can be a sound. You know, I'm sure you all do, like when you step away from a conflict and you go like, maybe you do it a bit more kinder than me.
That's true.
Can you express and release that toxic energy in some form? So let's try it. Okay, we will do a bit more gentle than what I did for you all. So let's put our hands onto our knees and then breathe out. Now can we breathe in and open our arms, like really opening for a big hug from the universe? Now sigh your breath and bring your arms with your head inside them. Hold. Just feel that emptiness. If the triggers are coming back, then you breathe in, open up again. And let go. One more, breathe in. Now just feel you really hugging yourself, holding yourself there in that peaceful space, like everything is dissolving away for you to hear your own voice of love or compassion. Maitri and Karuna, being friendly to hug, being kind and compassionate to come at ease. Now bring your hands back to your knees when you're ready. Can you feel the difference? Can we voice it out? But we don't have to voice out to say, how terrible it is, what you have done to me, my life is terrible because you did this. See, the release, the letting go process, there are healthier ways to do it. And the reason I'm saying that, because if I'm struggling with something, you know, somebody's triggering something in me, I know them or I don't know them, if I take that conflict open, then I have to cure two minds here to find peace. If I put it out on a Facebook, now I have to resolve every mind that got involved in it. You know, let's say just me and Michael had a conflict about the mic. Okay, we did not have it, just to be clear. And he came back and said, Jnandev, you should not have done it. Okay, I'm sorry. Now, eventually we both realized there was nothing actually wrong. It was just in our head. But once I said it, that conflict out, then all through the festival, wherever I go, people like, I hope everything is okay between you and Michael Jnandev. So it means now my ego is always going to be triggered, reminded that I did something wrong, now I have to prove that I was not wrong. So can we also find a healthier way to release the toxic feelings, toxic emotions, and not taking it forward? I will tell you a little example. Now this practice sounds very little, but it can actually change our life. So many years ago I was doing this workshops for Arts Care, which is a charity organization in Carmarthenshire, and they do lots of health and well-being programs, get lots of funding and stuff. And I love the work. You know, I can work with people with the disabilities and all different things, magical things happen. And this lady says on wheelchair and lives in home where she started to talk to me about like everybody come in my house, Jnandev, and my daughter tells me do this, do that. It's always continuously somebody telling me what am I doing wrong. And she said, I had enough to keep telling these people I'm okay. What should I do? So I taught this practice to her, okay? And now she said, because I'm always have to have a support, it means somebody is always there in the home. And if that person is annoying me, how should I do it? And she's I'm talking about somebody who's not like me. If I'm the person, I will do it wherever I am. But she's like rest of us in the Western system, kind, polite, peaceful, don't want to offend somebody, don't want to tell somebody, can you step away from my foot? You're standing on it. What we normally do, oh, I'm really sorry, are you okay? Instead of telling them, can you please take your foot away? So coming back to that, so then I was like, okay, where do you live? What sort of setups you have? So she lives in this, you know, the shared building where she had a little room with a little kitchen. So it's like a one-bed flat, shall we call it for now, to make it easy. So the only place, as we discussed, found that there was a privacy was her toilet and the shower room. So I said, well, why don't you just go there? So she actually took it seriously, and now I forgot about it. A few months later, this lady on the wheelchair, like really pushing it through and racing towards me, and I can see this love, this energy coming to me, and I'm also like, do I know her? You know, sometimes you feel this person is coming to you. And then she comes like, Jnandev, can I give you a hug? I can tell you how stressful it can be when somebody comes to you and say, Jnandev, can I give you a hug? And I'm like, I think I know you in my head, but I don't know you. Have you all had that pressure where somebody comes and say, you knows your name and reference you as they know you for the life? Anyway, I hide my own insecurity that I don't know your name behind, and like had a hug and like, oh, I'm really happy to see you. How can I help? She said, I just want to say thank you for the toilet practice. I was just like, toilet practice. Now I'm thinking of, I come from a very typical Hatha Yoga tradition as part of me. So I'm thinking, is he talking about Sankha Praksalna? Is he talking about Noli Kriya? Is he talking about the anima or something? And when did I share that? Anyway, again, I managed to keep calm and like, oh, tell me, how did it happen? Because I can't really say, what did I teach you? Because that would be offensive. I'm like, tell me, how did it help you? So then when she explains this high breathing kriya and said, every time somebody triggers something in me, instead of voicing it, verbalizing it, I quietly go to the toilet, sit there, and do it 5 times. Wow, to make it a bit more fascinating, I told her to do it 9 times. And she was like, oh, why 9 times? I said, oh, 9 is, in a yantra, it's a number of completion, which means you have mastered it. So I do a bit of mysticism, okay, because that works. If I tell somebody, boil and drink the boiled water to get rid of the germs, people may not follow it. In India, I used to do it lots. and you make fortune out of it. So in villages, when I went around here and there, and I know that they're drinking water from the river and it's not clean, if I tell them boil it and filter it and drink it, only 1 out of 100 will follow it. So I used to have somebody with a machine with me, like, oh, what's your name? What's your date of birth? And I put that in numbers. Oh, you're number 9. So this is your birth geometrical mandala. And the guy will stitch it up, do the fabric thing. So this guy was also used to struggle with the business. So I'm like, I will help you make the business. Now, if somebody makes a mandala on the cotton fabric and tell people to boil the water, and as long as you sieve it through it, it's going to help you become better. Now, out of 199 people, Jnandev knows how to do it. Every time I said, just sieve it through the cotton fabric, nobody did it. So where I'm bringing it, giving it a sound, a voice, and the faith, believing in something. Now, my question here is, do you believe in yourself that I'm going to be okay? When Patanjali talks about 9 obstacles in your spiritual sadhana, the one is lack of faith, lack of trust. Do I believe in myself? So, if somebody says, okay, let's sit quiet and we're going to meditate, like, no, I'm not good enough to do it. It's not going to work. Because you're telling yourself you're not good enough to do it. If you don't believe in yourself, how the practice is going to work for you? So now, as you're stepping away, find a way to release it. And there are many ways. I just gave you one little practice. Maybe you would have given it a different sound, like some people do. Or maybe change it into a mantra. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Maybe change into a breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. I can tell you, while you're holding your breath, all the crap goes away. Why? Because now your nervous system is fighting for the next breath. And it's a very basic neurobiological truth. How yogis worked it out, it's amazing to think. So do something to help your body, your mind, your psychology to release it, and then you replace it with something new. So in the 17th chapter, Krishna talks about, for people who want to access the abundance, the health, the wellness, 2 parts we need to understand. The concept he uses, the concept of the banyan, the people, the bargad tree, which is one of the most extensive tree. So that the largest tree we have near Kolkata is 3.74 square acres. So the whole festival can be done under that one tree. And as it spreads, it drops the new roots, but still in the center it's one. So it's your existence is that tree, and your roots are from where you're getting the energy from. So you got to unplug the root. Now that root, you stepped away, you did something about it. But if you leave the root, then it's going to fall back and connect to it. So he said, you got to not only take the root off from the negativity, from the toxic situation or whatever it is, now you got to connect it to something greater. So if you plant a seed in a toxic material, probably nothing would happen, would it? So all through your life, every day, whenever you realize this root is not in the right place, your practice, abhyasa, take it off. How do you do it? Asana, pranayama, mudra, chakra, kundalini, sound, it doesn't matter. Food, go for a retreat, go to the festival, do something about it. But once you understood, don't let the root fall back in it. You got to keep changing the soil, I'm afraid to say. And that's the beauty of the life, how amazing you are as a human being, but that need to be looked after. So I will conclude with one of the favorite phrase from my Guru Swamiji Jnandev Giri. He said, health and happiness is your birthright. But you know, it has the little star sign, the terms and conditions apply. The problem now, like I do it every time, you know, if I get a new app or something, I just tick on the box, I never even click to read what's there. Well, here we got to read the manual. So to be healthy, you really got to do everything that leads you to be healthy. I can't live a lethargic life and hope to be flexible and full of energy. Got to do something about it. So keep doing it. The second thing is, for happiness, you got to keep doing things that makes you happy. You can't read miserable, you can't be around the suffering and miseries and all that and saying, Jnandev, I'm not happy. Well, are you watching a comedy or are you watching horror? So make sure you keep doing what takes you to health, keep doing what takes you to happiness, and it is really the only dharma you have to live. So in the classical yogic, Vedic, Sanatan terms, it is amazing that the word sin, the papa, it doesn't exist. Only once or twice has been repeated, and once it's mentioned is, if you're not fully feeling that dharma to be in a good space, which is your health, your wellness, you can say it self-enlightenment, liberation, that is a sin. And I totally agree with it, because if you're not going to look after yourself, who else? If you can't say to yourself, I'm such a beautiful person, and hope everybody else is going to say it. Now please, we don't need to say it out loud, because it becomes too much, then it becomes the ego too. So I'm not talking about the ego statement. Coming to that peace, you can choose any path, any practice, but make sure you do and you let go. So we can have some questions and answers, and just to again conclude, well, we kind of got the Gurukula here in Wales, which is mostly online and one-to-one, have the residential ashram that's developing a eco-friendly, living in the nature, free from all the modern amenities. There is somebody comes there and says, like, Jnandev, have you got Wi-Fi? And I told them, I don't even have electricity to connect the Wi-Fi thing to. And it's amazing, doesn't matter how much information you send out to people, they know that there is nothing there. Like, have you got Wi-Fi? I'm like, do you read? So it's really an amazing place that's growing up, and hoping at some point it will be living with the 5 elements, where we pick the fruits to eat, pick the vegetables to eat, and live with the nature. So we have the ashram retreats, experience, yoga teacher training, yoga therapy training, I don't know, you just name it, and it's there. So if any one of you have interest to know more, I'm here. We got the books, and we got helpers here around. And also if you have questions, thank you, Mike, for getting ready. You can have a louder voice. Please do.
Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask openly? It's not working. Okay. Do you want to do questions now, or do you want to just...
Yeah, well, let's do it. Yeah, if anyone got something, please, ask. Yeah, I'm here.
Which you can question back before you get beyond.
Huh?
Make question man before you get beyond.
Yeah, I can hear, yeah. And we also got the mic today, so...
Yeah, this should be better now.
Yeah.
Has anyone got their hand up?
We need this, this side, please.
Hi, thank you so much for your talk. So my question is, in Vedic times, was there a word for trauma? Was there any type of therapy for trauma? How was it addressed? And also sympathetic, parasympathetic response, trauma, and because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a sutra that says that Bhidyate Hridaya Grantis Chidyante Sarvasham Saya, which means that, etc., etc., that when there are no more desires, then the Atman, it's liberated. And it uses the word granti, which is like a knot. So I don't know if it makes sense, the question I'm asking.
No, I think I totally got it. So in our yogic, in our Sanatan system, the word generally would be used as ajnana, which is the root of all the problems, which means there is a blockage to be able to access the wisdom, to be able to access the solution that is already there. Which again we can reference, because the trauma, what trauma does, it leads us into a dysfunctional brain. So we know what to do, but we cannot do it, which is not allowing us to have the access of the cortex, prefrontal cortex. The second term in our yogic and the classical teachings, we use the word samskara, which is again, to me, when I understand people with the traumas, because their samskaras of their experience and their perceptive or cognitive reality become so strong, they can't see anything otherwise. So we have the word kusamskara, which is sort of being caught up into something that is not even allowing us to see the greater truth. So yes, there are many references. Terms are a little bit different. With the sympathetic, parasympathetic, we got the spanda nispanda, we got the surya chandra, or we got the ida pingla. If you connect three together, then just a different terminology for it.
So ajnana, bhu samskara, and idanadi are...
That's like on the second when you talk about the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so in Hatha Yoga we have the Surya and Chandra. In the Tantra we have the Shiva and Shakti. In the Kundalini we have the Ida and Pingla. So the terms are there. If you put the two together, it's beautiful. And to me, some of the yogic principles, we look at it, if I really want to understand them in our modern language, then only the two places it makes sense. The one is the neuroscience, the second is the quantum science. If you put two together, then just the new words. And I've been to a workshop not really long back in Queen's University where we had this conference on understanding the epigenetics, and somebody did all this research and talks about it, and then I explained from the yogic perspective. And at the end I just cheekily asked them, how much money did you spend on all this? And they said like 3.5 million or something. Like, you could have just got the Karika Samhita, which is 20 rupees or something from Gorakhpur Gita, and it has all of this. Language is different. Yeah.
Is there a book that links Vedanta with nervous system that you've written?
So I got the yoga therapy book, and something else is coming too. Yeah. So, and then for the nervous system, I would say the Swar Yoga book is really sort of explains the connection of the right left brain and the Surya Chandra, and it's there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid we've gone over time, so should we just do one more question? Is there one more question?
Please don't be afraid. You're doing the right thing.
You have.
Okay, that was really great. Thank you very much for everyone for being with part of this journey. And let's be. Let's be. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's keep going. That's the only choice we have. Keep going.